Hello everybody and welcome to the Radiator Arms. Today we are going to be talking about all of those things that non-car people will just never understand. And to do that we have the iconic trio of, to my right, the man in the cans, Will the Plank.
Hello everybody.
And to my left, the ever delightful ant of sports and touring and of course, JayEmm and friends.
That would be me. And to my right would be the JayEmm on cars himself, James Martin.
Brackets, not that one. Hello,
one.
everybody. And now, the theme tune.
Now, Will, you did actually write the theme tune, sing the theme tune.
I did. Write the theme tune, sing the theme tune.
Now, before we get started, I think it's time to put Ant out of his misery. For tomorrow, in real time, he and I are embarking on a mini adventure.
I missed an episode because I was not very well, and you said that I was suffering from...
Old bastarditis.
That's it. So when you say things like, you're going to put me out of my misery, it kind of sounds like, you know...
We're bringing around the back of the farm like Old Yellow.
Knock me over the head and put a bullet in my brain.
Oh, we can't afford that.
Too much paperwork.
The paperwork
as well.
involved is just so laborious. So we're sorry, my friend. You're going to have to just keep on going.
Thank goodness. I've still got lots to do.
Yeah. And so I had an idea a little while ago. And to be honest, the fact I haven't spoiled this yet, honestly, is just mind-blowing. I'm very impressed with myself. But it's got to the point where he kind of does need to know, because in about 16 hours or so, we are going to be on a plane. And basically, I had this idea, and I've had this idea for a little while, okay? You and I have been on some pretty cool trips. We've been all over the place. Just recently, we were over in Italy with Maserati, which was cool. Fantastic, you know, and that's amazing stuff. A lot of that is genuine money cannot buy experience, you know, out there in a brand new supercar, getting to park places that nobody can park, you know, just dump the car in the middle of an Italian piazza, look like a Gran Turismo loading screen. It's just amazing, you know, wonderful food, great people, like everything curated for you is great, honestly. Like, although we do videos telling everybody how hard it is ultimately a good time, right?
It was worth it. It was worth it.
For sure. But I appreciate the fact that for a lot of people, this is just something that you can't do. You know, it's just unobtainable. There's no point even thinking about how you can do it, because even if you have the money, it's not possible. You know, these are special things organized, and, you know, favors are had and all that sort of stuff. And special relationships must be acquired before any of this can happen. So I've thought for a long time, I really want to do something that people can do. Anybody can do, but that still has some pretty cool components. So it's still going to involve going abroad, doing stuff in cars, and a cool destination, but on a reasonable budget. So I have got a 4-day trip planned for Ant and I am covering the cost of everything.
Months ago, James said to me, right, are you free on these dates? And I went, yeah. He was like, right, block them out, make sure your passport's valid. I went, well, what are we doing? He was like, don't worry about that. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, and I said that because at the time I didn't know. Perfectly honest, because, you know, it's November now at the time of recording. The weather's starting to turn here. It's a bit manky and rainy, so I thought, let's try and go somewhere where it's a little less manky and rainy. I hate to tell you this, but I'm afraid the weather report does say for the next 2 days where we're going, it is going to be rainy as well. But it should then improve, and it's definitely warmer than it is here. So hopefully, and we'll be mobile as well. So tomorrow morning, we are getting up, we are heading to the airport, and we are getting on a plane to Malaga.
I've never been to Malaga.
Nor have I.
Isn't that one of these party places that people go?
So, yes, it is quite close to Marbella.
Right.
And it's on the southern coast of Spain. Because basically my logic was, to get somewhere warm, we're probably going to go as far south as we can without the real chance of being carjacked.
Right.
So I figured southern Spain, pretty safe bet. Looked up various different flight options and things. I stoutly refused to go with Ryanair. And the budget I had set for this entire trip is £1,000. Right.
Okay.
And I want to do an adventure, a proper adventure, which doesn't feel like we've had to compromise on anything, for £1,000. And it's actually made more difficult by the fact that we have to take extra luggage because we've got cameras and things like that. But that's all included. I'm not making allowances for anything. This is a trip. No favors pulled, no strings attained, nothing like that, right? No YouTuber superpowers, right? Nothing. We're going to Malaga. I have booked us an Airbnb on the edge of a Spanish national park, and I've got us basically a mystery rental car, which when I first booked it was going to be a Fiat 500 or similar, and for the whole time it was €18.
Oh, wow.
Now, by the time I added an extra driver and every single insurance waiver known to man, that came in at about €80. But my plan is for us to head down there, see the place. We're literally on the edge of this beautiful looking national park. And if we can make it happen on Sunday, a 2-hour drive away, and I'd really like this to happen. And Sunday, it's going to be supposed to be a sunny day. We can go to Gibraltar.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, so let's start with the question posed by none other than Will the Plank Senior. And what did he have to say for himself, Will?
Well, you know, he said to me when I was talking about the topics we're going to do today downstairs, and I said to him, have you got any questions you'd like to ask someone who isn't really a car person and isn't quite into this like, you know, I am? And he says, well, what drives you to actually be that interested in cars? What got you into it? And why do you spend so much of your time and money and efforts on it when, for the most part, for most people, it's basically a mode of transport?
And I think his words included when there's other better things to do.
Yes.
I like what?
Well, to him, it's probably play guitar and...
Yeah,
look
right.
cool.
Okay, let's just
Well,
right.
What got him into guitars? What makes him spend all his time wasting his time on musical instruments when he could be doing a proper job?
Well, when he was younger, it was because he would always liked music and he had a classical guitar teacher. When he was a teenager in the 60s, it's because rock and roll was a thing and so were women at that time.
Yes.
And for the rest of his life, it's been because rock and roll is still a thing and so were women.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, the question was a little bit rhetorical. But
I know,
But it's like
but
anything else. Like non-car people, they kind of, I think you covered it there where you said that a lot of people see it as a mode of transport, a way of getting from A to B. But lots of things have a function. Like I was talking with someone very, very recently at a garden party, as you do. And
As you do.
that was a barbecue / garden party. Anyway, and this lady said to me, so I don't understand, what is it about cars? Like, I don't understand. Why do you even need more than one car? And you know, my car gets me from point A to point B. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I've got a bag that carries my stuff. How many bags do you have? She was like, what do you mean? I was like, how many bags do you have? She goes, I know, about 20. I went, so you got 20 handbags? She went, yep. I said, well, you only need one bag. What do you need more than one bag for? She was like, you got me there. And I think it's always one of those things that if it's not something you're interested in, I mean, I don't understand why you need 20 bags, but, you know, if it's not something you're personally interested in, it always seems like a waste of time.
Yeah.
But we all like different things, and that is the beauty of the world.
I think, you know what, in this day and age particularly, I think there is so much, like so much to be said for just taking enjoyment in whatever it is that you like. You know, I mean, like, how many guitars are in this room? Like 20 odd?
And the rest.
I mean, some of them are customer items, I'm sure, in for repair. But how many guitars does your father own, do you think?
Oh, actually, no. All of the ones up here, he owns.
All of which technically do this. Some I can see are basses, and some are obviously electric, and some are acoustic. But by and large, bit of wood with strings on, you know. But it doesn't matter because it makes him happy. I'm sure many of them have got a story attached to them. They do things. Some of them have probably broken at some points in time and required fixing, or maybe he's had to source different parts, or, you know, all of a sudden this humbucker's not in production anymore and you've got to find an equivalent, or you've got to send it off to be remade, and, you know, because you don't want it to sound any different than it did before because you're really attached to it. And
do you know what? That is a real thing that happens. That
Yeah.
is a real thing. We get people in with guitars where they've broken the headstock off of them, so the bit where all the tuning pegs are on,
Yeah.
and people are just been in like absolute tears and beside themselves. And my dad has, you know, put rods in them, glued them back on, and then sanded them down. And my stepmother as well, who does a lot of art stuff, she's then painted painstakingly by hand the lines of the grain of the wood back in with paints, and then it's been lacquered and to make it look new again. It's you know, it's like anything that you like. For instance, right next to Ant is a 15-inch CRT monitor, which goes along with one of my Windows 98 and Windows XP gaming rigs, because I like old computers. As much as I love the new fast stuff, I also like to turn it on and hear it think and whir.
I think for a lot of young people, and it is chiefly young men, but young ladies as well, the car sometimes is that first piece of space that we had, which sometimes truly felt like our own.
Absolutely.
You know, it's that first thing that we had that you're like, okay, you have your bedroom or whatever, but really that's a bedroom in your parents' house. But the car, that can be yours. That's all about you. So it can become an extension of your personality. And even I think for people that weren't really into cars, sometimes you're like, they went and bought the cars that just appealed to them. And sometimes it's like, I like the colour. You know, or sometimes they're like, it makes a nice noise, or they're like, it's expensive and I want people to know I've got loads of money. You know, there's all sorts of different reasons to buy it, but in some way, shape or form, it says something about you.
And I think the extension of your own personal space in a car is a really true thing, because I like to keep my cars vacuumed very regularly and clean on the inside. The outside, because we're countryside way, especially in the winter, that is what it is. But
Yeah.
the inside of my car must be dust-free and cleaned regularly. And as a reset, I don't leave any crisp packets, drinks, anything in there. You know, it must be clean. And it's a little bit of zen in my mind, you know, because, you know, around here at the unit we're in,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff here because
Yes,
it's the
there is.
nature of what we do, and we need a lot of things, and it sometimes it builds up and it's a little bit chaotic. My car on the inside is very bare minimum and it is neutral, and I can get in my car after a stressful day, and for that commute home I'm in a space where there's a little bit of calm before I come back to the 20,000 shoes my wife has in all her bags.
I have just learned something about myself from both of you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that I feel exactly like that about my car. When I'm in that car, that is my space where it's just me.
Yeah.
Right. And when I was a bit younger, and Damani, my son, was a bit younger, it was me and him. And now I've dropped him off at school, and now it's a me time.
Yeah.
And that was the only place I really got me time. I do think, though, my passion for cars started before I can even remember. You know, I ended up having this crazy toy car collection. Some of it I had sort of inherited from my older brother. He says I stole it, but I disagree.
Lies and slander.
I disagree. I was its custodian for a while. Let's put it that way. And cars were just fascinating to me because they're just amazing. Like cars and planes actually were always, and motorbikes, they're all just amazing what they can do. I know, yes, you might make a joke about me being old and, you know, obviously only just having transitioned from horse and cart.
No, we take your fragility very seriously. That's why we're having new banisters put in.
We've got the Stanner coming
With the
next
lift,
week.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I do think it started before that. But that idea of it being the first thing that you have that allows you to create your own space. You can go for a drive somewhere to the middle of nowhere where there's no one. You could just sit there and just chill.
Yeah, well, it's like when I first realised I was getting into my cars, a lot of that was actually helped by my dad, because he always kind of like had some nicer cars, usually used cars, but like in a point where like, you know, a 4 or 5 year old BMW is still something that in the 90s especially people look at and go, oh yeah, you know, like I remember the first car he brought back that it was just like awe, you know, looking at that thing that really got me started with loving old BMWs and cars, was his E28 535i M535i, the dark blue one, and the way it just looked, the leather interior. It had the check control panel at the top. It had the little digital panel next to the radio, and to me there, like looking at, and I think it had the economy meter gauge and stuff that would move as you drive along, and just looking at that, I was like, oh my goodness, it looked like a shark as well. And he realised to me that I had an interest in this mechanical stuff. And so he would big it up with me. He would talk to me about it. He would talk to me all about the car. And in as much as he knew about cars, because he's not quite a car obsessing person like I am, but, you know, he'd always get excited. He'd want to point out cars to me and show cars. When I looked at cars, he'd just talk to me about them. And another pivotal moment for me with cars is when I had my ride on go-kart went down the street. He'd just got some BMW badges replaced on his car, and he had a spare one. And what he did was he drilled 2 little holes to fit the emblem in the back of mine, and I had a BMW go-kart. And at 4 or 5 years old, I felt like the coolest kid on the block.
Let's talk about transport, okay? Because I think as humans, right, it's very much natural that we have this whole grass is greener thing. We always want to be somewhere else or be doing somewhere else or be someone else, you know, and through all kinds of media, we are from relatively young ages exposed to different worlds, either, you know, through the TV, on film, on the radio, in posters, you know, in commercial advertisements, all sorts of different ways. All these lives, you know, are presented to us, you know, typically as you could be living this life, you know, you could be here, or like, look at this really cool, sexy, adventurous guy doing all of his stuff. And you know, you might be like, oh man, that's amazing. I would just love to go to LA. You know, I want to go to Hollywood, or like, I want to go to Japan, you know, or I want to go to China. I want to go to Thailand, all these places. Well, you have to get there somehow, right? You know, and I think if you're going to get there somehow, okay, well, you're going to need a machine involved. You know, there's a lot of different things you're going to have to, if you want to get to a foreign country, right, there's a lot of stages involved. You know, even for us here in Britain, either you're going to have to get on a plane, or you're going to have to drive and get on a boat or a train or something like that. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm interested in the things that I interact with. I want to know, like, you know, what sort of train am I going to get on? Is there a choice? Is there a good one? Is there a bad one? It's not always a case of expensive or cheap. Sometimes it's like, well, they're the same price. It's just you don't want that one. Get on this one, or don't take that route. Do this route. Like, and one of the things I really love about doing driving tours and adventures and things is that even when you've got your route and destination fairly well planned, there'll always be these little places that you find about that you wouldn't even really have got there if you drove. You know, there are so many different places I've been to where you're like, if it wasn't for the fact that I was talking to someone, they said, oh, did you know 5 miles outside of town, there's this place, you must go to it, but the only way you can get there is drive. That's all right, I brought the car.
And the places you stumble onto. I mean, when we were in Japan, we found this incredible restaurant with an incredible wall that was just like so picturesque.
That was perfect.
In the middle, it was, wasn't it? In the middle of nowhere. And we stumbled onto it because we were searching for a driving road. And not any particular driving road, just anything. We were looking on the map and trying to find it. And I suppose that might be the kind of thing that non-car people probably wouldn't understand. Like, why would you just get in your car and drive for the sake of it? Why do you not have a destination that you're heading for?
Now, here's an interesting take. I think, and this probably might be true, and people in the comments let me know down below, I think most people that are into cars are probably also into just most things with engine and just infrastructure in general. Would you be right in saying, like, you like a bit of trains, you like planes, you know, and you like the interesting kind of mechanics, how it works, and maybe you might find yourself looking up at a power line once in a while, or looking at a solar line going, I wonder how far that's gone. Is that a thing you do at all? Ever like And I feel like a lot of people who have that kind of interest are more interested perhaps in the way mechanical things and the world works. And by and large, we're probably more likely to get attached to those kind of things with engines, that kind of stuff that does stuff. That, you know, that's something that gives you that feel of it's me and the machine kind of thing.
That might be the tism.
Yes, I am diagnosed fully autistic for those who aren't playing along at home with their Will the Plank law. But amazingly, not that into trains.
Yeah, I'm not that into trains, but
I don't mind them, and I know a bit about them in places, but they don't really float my goat that much.
But, right, okay, let me put this to the floor. If I said to you that I could get us a go on a steam train.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
I'd take it.
Right,
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
100%.
there you go, right? Like riding in the back, but up front with the oily bits. Like,
Absolutely.
Okay, actually, I actually did specifically go and ride on a steam train on the Isle of Wight many years ago, and there's a whole story about how we had to literally chase the train so we weren't going to miss it. But yeah, I think not everyone though necessarily who's into cars is also into all of that stuff. I think sometimes it's just because they like the design of cars, they like the looks of cars, they might like the sound of the cars, which I think is another thing that non-car people don't understand, because they always complain about what's that horrible noise. Now, recently it was the 5th of November, and I was I can't remember where I was actually. I was somewhere, maybe at home, maybe not, maybe someone else's house. Either way, there was lots and lots of fireworks going off. All you could hear is psh, bang, psh, bang, 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 bang. And I was like, and everyone's celebrating this. Now, a few weeks earlier, there was a very distant sound of, because some, young people had got together in a car park somewhere and were revving their engines. All the Facebook groups, oh, that noise, all those bangs and the pops. Oh, I hate it. And then as soon as there's bangs and pops, oh, I love it. Fireworks, yay. Yeah. And it's just like, what?
Is it because there's also a visual aid with fireworks, and also meant to be
I couldn't see the fireworks. I could just hear them. I was indoors.
But also, what always frustrated me is you'll have people complain about, like, oh, that bloke down the road with his noisy car. Like, yes, he drives past your house at 7:30 in the morning, and you hear him for all of maybe 15 seconds if he gets a nice clear run from the 30 to the 60 section, and then he's gone. And then maybe you hear him again at 5:30 when he comes home from work, and that is it. Meanwhile, you raging asshole, were out here on Sunday morning with that hedge trimmer for 3 hours, and you did not stop.
And don't forget your Bichon Frises that sit there barking at everything that moves, including birds and squirrels, all day long. You old bastards. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, oddly specific there, dear. Yeah.
But I mean, and this is the thing. It's like, for some reason, people seem to think that what they like should be what everyone else likes.
Yes.
And I think, for the most part, most car people that I know don't feel that way. They're like, I like cars. You don't need to like them. Just don't stop me from being able to like them, right? Yeah. I'm not into, shaping my hedges in my garden. But if someone else is into it, I'm totally okay with that. There has to be a little bit of live and let live, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
As an example, when we were at the track the other day, which we'll get onto probably as part of this topic, but there is a noise limit, and I can understand it. I really can. But it's like, apparently they get complaints from someone who wasn't even at the track driving through the village in anything even vaguely loud, because they just assume, well, they must be going to or from the track. And it's like, well, no, just stop stereotyping car people, right? You can't really go around just saying, oh, well, because they're a car person, because they've got that exhaust, they're a hooligan.
Was it you were telling me recently about, was it out-group something?
Out-group derogation.
Out-group derogation, where I think basically people see somebody being a bit of a lout in a car and they go, noisy fast car, that's why they're a lout. And it's like, no, guess what? Actually, we probably dislike these people far more than you do, because they give all of us a poor name, and we don't support their behavior or condone it either. This does not mean that you have to write off the entire group.
You know what? I think you probably get some absolute cockwombles in every kind of group. I'm sure Doris at the Knitting Club has been a little bit too much recently, and then there'll be other people that think...
She's been on a baby sham, that's why.
Exactly. All knitters are bad.
Yeah. I mean, all right, just very briefly, in psychology and social psychology, there is this idea of in-groups and out-groups. Your in-group is the group that you're a member of. And you can be a member of lots of different groups. And human nature is to basically excuse everything that is done within your in-group as that's just an individual, a bad apple, someone who's, they're not like us, really. right?
Yeah.
And then anyone in the out group does something wrong. Someone who's a member of a group you're not a member of. So if you're I don't know, a gardening enthusiast, and you hear a loud car going down the road, that's in your out group. That's a person who likes cars. So now all people who like cars are just, complete and utter hooligans. And unfortunately, that's just how it is. So the derogation, as in derogatory, you basically put down the entire membership of that group when it's got nothing to do with you. When you can relate to it, suddenly any bad behavior within your group is just excusable, because it's not excusable. It's that individual.
You've managed to justify it or explain it away as is because they're a member of this. Like, of course they do like that. It's because they're French. You're like, no, they may just be a common or garden variety arsehole.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with where they're from,
Yeah.
who they are, or anything else. I mean, look, for example, one of the groups I find that has really big crossover with petrol heads is cyclists. Like,
I've not had that experience.
No, that's because of where you live. And where you live basically is, let's just call it London, right? And some of the cyclists, I think they are genetically different to the cyclists we get around here. I don't think they're the same species, okay? And the same goes for motorcyclists, by the way, as well, because, anywhere inside the M25, motorcyclists, they're not the same.
I'm sorry to say, anyone in Cambridge as well.
Yeah, also, like, your average Deliveroo rider, right, in Camden Town is a sort of two-wheeled psychopath on a mission to end their life prematurely, and it's just bizarre from all angles, right? Out here, you tend to get people that are just out to enjoy a ride. It's it's a different kind of thing. And of course, out here, most of the cyclists that I see when I'm out filming and whatnot, half of them are fans of the channel. Also, because if you actually pay attention, you're like, that bloke's on a $3,500 carbon bike. Like, so they bought that because they're also gearheads. These are the same people. If they're into computers, they buy the latest 5080 Ti graphics card and top of the line processors and everything else. And you get other people who are like, well, they don't buy normal trainers. They buy £300-400 ones, or you can spend as much as you want. I mean, let's face it, every single thing out there that people like, you can probably spend on it far more than you would possibly imagine. But it's all elements of life have this. I mean, like, food. Like, you could, just have a TV dinner every night of your life. You could do that. You could do basic stuff. You have, chips, chicken nuggets. Like, you can do that. Or you can get the cookbook out. You can make your own thing. You can turn it into a passion. You can enjoy it. Now, for some people, it's simply impractical. For some people, it's just something they would like to do and they can't do for various different reasons. And for some people, it's unfortunate. It's not their choice, and that's just how it is. But there are also people for whom you're like, let's make this entertaining. And there'll be other people looking at it going like, why have you just spent 2 hours cooking that dinner? We could have called Domino's, And it's the same thing, isn't it? Other people just go like, I don't understand it. From my perspective, I'm like, well, if you're going to do this like, 2 or 3 times a day, you might as well do something you enjoy.
Yeah.
Do something that enhances your life. Do something that makes your life better. And with cars as well, I think the thing that a lot of non-car people often don't understand is, I think non-car people often basically see stuff as like, for some people, it's just new cars only. Even those on relatively limited budgets, it'll always be, we just buy new cars. That's it. I guess in some ways we should be grateful, because it's because of these people that we can go and buy incredible, iconic performance cars that aren't even that old, 10, 15 years old. To me, that still feels like a modern car at a fraction of the price. I've got my Audi RS4. I paid the same for it basically as your Dacia Spring.
Yeah. Now,
the Audi suits me, the Dacia suits you. They're both great cars in their own way. Very different things ultimately. But of course, most people wouldn't even think of it considering an RS4 or something if they were looking at a Spring. I think sensibly so. But there is so many ways in which you can enhance your life. And what I really like about cars particularly is that there's all of these different elements, and I think they do count almost as art. There's so many different things about a car that you can be excited and interested about. You can like the look of it, the styling, the design. Why does a 1980s Audi Quattro have such a presence about it? What's important about it? Versus like, why is that then so different to say like a 430 Scuderia or a 911 GT3 or a Ford Mondeo ST220, you know.
And you can nerd out about the sounds of the different cars and why they sound different,
Yeah.
and the different number of cylinders, the timing, cross plane or flat plane crank. You know, there's so many different things to even talk about in the sound. And I think this is the artistic element. I think for me, there are so many elements that relate to all aspects of our senses, whether it's the sight, the sound, the smells,
Yep.
everything.
Cars do the lot.
What things feel like. They literally do everything. It's like, actually, come to think of it, why doesn't everyone love cars? I don't get it. That's like, it literally ticks all the boxes.
Well, it's when people say, why have you got more than one? And that always grates me a little bit, because yes, I suppose if you only can have one car and you need one car, you buy an estate. It does everything. It's got all the doors. You can fit stuff in it. Usually most of them are cheap enough to run. An estate, I would say, is the everybody car or a hatchback of some sort. Nobody needs any more than that. But there's something about having different cars for different purposes which I enjoy. I.e., I've got my Spring for my daily duties, running around the town, running around the little back roads, really cheap to run, kind of got characterful actually for a new car, and mildly entertaining. And that kind of serves me well enough during the week, especially on those days where I get up tired, I'm coming just a couple of miles to here, and I don't want to have to think about, like for instance, I daily drove the grey Mini for a few days because it had some problems we fixed. And at like 8 o'clock in the morning, you get into that and put harnesses on when you're tired, and you think, the suspension's kicking me in the back, it's a little bit, So it's nice to, which I do like. Give me a couple of hours and I've woken up, I've had my caffeine and I've had my breakfast, and I'm like, oh yeah. But basic cars like that are nice to serve a purpose, which is get you from place A to B. And then you've got, say, like the Mercedes, which is the classic, beautiful looking thing, beautiful inside, just timeless design. People love to look at it. It's from a completely bygone era to drive compared to modern stuff. It serves a purpose of just being something enjoyable. And I'd say if I was to add a third vehicle to my fleet again, which I actually want to do, and I want to ask in a minute what you guys think is your ideal 3-vehicle fleet, I'd say I'm going to add my old Volkswagen Transporter van into that. Something that's really practical, and you can do loads of stuff with, take things to places like going to the tip and stuff. And actually, I have an opportunity to potentially buy that back next year. So watch this space.
I have a different reason for wanting multiple cars.
Yeah,
because there's just more than one car that I like.
Yeah, there's that as well. That as well, absolutely.
Because I want them and I can.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and at one point I had both the R8 GT Spider and I had the Lamborghini Gallardo.
Yep.
For those that don't know, I sold the R8 GT because I wanted to create a runway, if you like, for me to invest more into YouTube and turn that into something that was more profitable. But I would have happily kept both of those cars. And technically, why do you need 2 supercars? Now, if one were to really need to justify it, I could say, well, one of them is a convertible and one of them's not. But I'm not really driving either of them much outside of the spring and the summer anyway. So that probably doesn't quite count. But for me, it was because there were just 2 cars that I love and respected.
Yeah. And even though underneath they were technically the same car, they were actually very different.
Yes, they were.
Well, yeah, I mean, they had a lot in common. They shared a platform. I don't like to say they're the same car, and I made a whole video about that, which you can watch over in Sports and Touring, where I actually drive them back to back and explain why they drive so differently, not just how they drive differently. But yeah, I just feel like you can just like having more than one thing. I mean, for example, right? Technically speaking, you don't really need more than 7 days worth of clothes, right?
Yeah.
But we all buy more than 7 days worth of clothes because we like certain things. I think, again, going back to this this acquaintance who was asking me, I don't understand why you need more than one car. And I said, well, why do you have more than one handbag? She was like, well, I like handbags. And I was like, well, I like cars. She says, yeah, but I need different handbags for different outfits. And I went, well, why can't I want to have a different car for a different situation, just like you?
Well, absolutely. It's what I did. I went to I had 2 events this weekend just been. I went to a pub for a friend's party, and I was in my jeans and t-shirt, I took my Dacia Spring, and the day after we went to a 40th birthday party somewhere very fancy. I was in a shirt and everything. I even changed my Apple Watch out for an old school classic, one of those Casio watches, and I took the Merc to look fancy, an occasion. So there is definitely something to like the same thing. It's using your car to accessorize
And I
yourself.
think I might have seen you driving home in the Merc because I was out and about.
Yeah.
And it looked so good.
Yes, we passed each other as well
Yeah.
the day after, actually.
Yeah.
I was in the Merc, you were in the F12, and I was like, oh, man, this looks so
that was
good.
it. But do you not also, right, especially with that Merc, you know, so for those who don't know, obviously one of the reasons that I got it is because the first car you ever drove was your dad's W124, you know, 300, wasn't it?
300E.
Yeah, with the Carat du Châtelet body
Yep.
kit. Do you not think about that a little bit every time you get in your Merc?
I do. It is, that car for me is a tangible connection to our friendship. And, you know, that was one of the best days of my life receiving that car, not just because of the car, but because of who it was from, the meaning behind it, the fact that you guys went out of your way to think about me, you know, and gave me something actually at a time where, you know, I'd had a bit of a rough time as well in the time leading up to it, you know, so it was just one of those things that is special. And obviously the connection with my dad, because the truth is, one day my dad's not going to be here. He's 75. He might live to 90. He might live another week. You never know. But having something like that is like a physical link to someone, you know, and whatever happens in our lives, you know, it's a physical link to our friendship. It's a physical link to a different time. So driving that car, every time I get in it, I'm reminded of that first car I drove. I think, you know, I'm thinking about my dad, I'm thinking about our friendship. I'm just thinking about how cool it was back then, you know.
And just speaking from experience, when you go back downstairs to tell him, we got the answers to your question,
Yeah.
by the way, don't start with, we're going to put you out of your misery.
Listen here, you old shit.
Exactly.
None of your lip, right?
But James, did you want to say something on this topic? Because I've got another thing that I know that non-car people just don't get.
You seem like you want to get it out. So get it out there, my friend. Let it all out.
Okay, right. So, and actually, this came up in this exact same conversation with this individual. And they were like, yeah, but I don't understand. Why do you have like fast cars? What's the point? You can't go faster than 70 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes, you can.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, you can't. She goes, yes, you can. She's like, no, not legally. I said, yes, you can. And she was like, but where? And I was like, loads of places.
Yeah.
There's like about 15, 20 places in the UK alone I can think of. Yeah. And that's racetracks. There's runways where you can do it. The
Isle of Man.
VMAX. You can go to the Isle of Man where there are no
De-restricted means de-restricted.
Yeah, it really does mean no speed limit. There's loads of places just within our own country that, although Isle of Man, is that not technically a separate country?
Isn't it an independent territory or something?
Yeah, something like that.
But it's pretty darn close.
Yeah, exactly. But just racetracks and runways where you have like VMAX events and things like that. Mm-hmm. There's Supercar Fest where they have that sort of
all sorts of stuff. Yeah,
they've got hill climbs that you can do.
Yep,
there's so many places. And you know, just the other day we had the Radiator Arms Track Club at Blyton Park where we had some pretty incredible machinery.
It's
not least the Rover 100.
The Rover 115 diesel, 45 horsepower of fury and anger. And what a good job he did. We've had an amazing start to our little venture. We had 4 days this year, and they've all gone spectacularly well. So we've now had almost 100 people. I think it's probably about 90 odd if we don't include ourselves on the days to come to the event. They all, thus far, I mean, none of them said they were unhappy. They've all seemed very, very happy with how everything's gone. And honestly, the variety of the cars that we've had has just been incredible. So we've had everything from a Nissan Elgrand.
That I have to stop you there, was the best experience I've ever had on 4 wheels. Forget the F430 Scuderia, forget everything else, forget supercars. I have never laughed so much in my life while going around a track as a passenger. And this guy, I forget the name of the guy who was driving me around. He had the Japanese lounge music CD playing.
Love it.
He was he put my seat back, leaned my seat back. I think he put on some kind of heated or massage function or something silly like that. And then he was showing me the curtains in the back, opening and going as they're going around track. And then he's just hucking this thing straight into the corner, almost doing like a Scandinavian flick in this thing, and it is just like one wheel peeling smoke everywhere, and you think this car is going to roll over because the mirrors are nearly on the actual curbstone, but it's just staying going. You got the sound of this angry, same engine that's in like the 350Zs, I think, or 350Zs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and it's
same
just
engine.
this hilarious vehicle, and it was just, I have never smiled and laughed so much.
They got some builders in at the minute at Blyton Park, and at one point he cocked it up onto 3 wheels, and they gave him a cheer.
Yeah.
And that was just brilliant. He was going around a corner like a Lotus Cortina.
Yeah.
It was some serious angle going on. And we've had countless, MX-5, Boxster, 911s, all that stuff. We had a couple of McLarens. We had some Ferraris. We had a Rover 100 diesel, and we had an XJ220 on the same day. And do you know what? I'm going to say this with some confidence. I don't think it's often that happens.
No.
Ant and I did some rolling shots and things doing that. And I don't know about you, but I had a lot of fun in that.
That was hilarious.
I was in the Jag, though.
I was quite happy for you to be in the Jag and for me to be in the Rover.
Yeah.
And I was being very cautious about my spacing between the car I was in and the car that you were in. Although I did get to drive the XJ220
you
off
did.
camera, and that was a bucket list moment for me, I won't lie.
That's quite something. Also, like XJ220s, they're tough to get in and out of, like, full stop. With a helmet on,
Forget it.
they're so difficult.
Would I have fitted?
No.
Actually, Brad, who was there, he's 6'6",
Okay.
and he did fit.
Wow, because I'm 6'4".
He put the seat right back, didn't he?
Yes, he did. So you would have fit, whether you'd have fit with a helmet or not, I'm not so sure, but it is not built for basketball players, that car.
Yeah. Brad didn't take it on track though, did he?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think, he would have been in some considerable... I was honestly worried the whole time because I was driving this thing and all I could hear is tap, 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 tap as my helmet is touching it's got this glass roof. And I'm just like... Now, luckily, it's like a completely smooth helmet, so I wasn't really worried about like scratching or anything, but I was worried I'd go over like a curb or something and just go through the roof.
Oh,
and I was like, I don't want to know how much a sunroof for an XJ220 is. Like, I don't want to find that out. Like, no, it's not a Webasto. I can tell you that. So...
I won't lie, I was a little bit nervous with that car because, I mean, that's what, nearly $750,000?
550.
$500,000?
Oh, wow. They're worth that much?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just spent 38 grand on it. That was on getting the boot done and some brakes.
But that chap, spending that much money on that kind of car to keep an icon going. What
He
guy?
was the nicest. His name's Mike. He's the nicest man ever.
So generous.
I basically tempted him out to the track day, basically on the idea of, could you please come out with your car, and would you mind if during the day I can just do a little bit of filming with it? Because the last time I drove an XJ220, it was obviously a very memorable experience, but I didn't really get to drive it properly. I didn't really get to, do anything with it. It was just, I was down the wrong roads, and I just didn't really get to see what the car could do. And he came out with it. I mean, first off, like anyone that just comes out in an XJ220, like full stop, like legend, instant, right? He did the sighting lap and chucked me the key. Was like, yeah, there you go, have fun. What? Like, seriously? He's like, yep, nope, there you go, have at it. Like, okay. Yeah, hell, all right. I thought he was going to just lend it to me for like a session or something. Like, no, he gave it to me the whole day. Couldn't believe it. Absolutely couldn't believe
amazing.
it. We had some good fun in the Scuderia as well.
Yeah.
Got to do some filming and things. Like, the photos and stuff have come through now, so I put some of those on. We just had an absolute blast. We're really, really happy with it. And, we're going to be doing more next year. We've got about 10 dates booked at Blyton. The first of them I have released. So they're going to be running from like February to November, effectively. The first 3 dates are out there now. So anybody that wants to come and join us, please do, because we are already selling the spaces. The first one is going to be in early February, and it's just the season opener. And the way we run it is it's 24 cars all in. You get between 6 and 10 cars on track, depending on how things are going, like to keep everyone spaced out and even, and just so there's
Never seen more than 5 cars on track.
Yeah, so you just don't get that busy. So you've got loads and loads of space. It's really low pressure. The emphasis is just on having a good time. The idea is it's like a cars and coffee with a track, right?
Yeah, this is the thing. I didn't go to the was it the Friday and Saturday or Thursday? Friday?
Thursday, Friday.
Friday event. I wasn't there because I had other commitments, so I couldn't come down. But like the 2 days I've been there now, I've just been sat like a lot of the time. I only really had, especially the second day I came down, when I wasn't repairing the Mini. I had one passenger ride, and that was in the El Grand, and I went round in the blue and the grey for a couple of laps. But other than that, I was just sitting chatting to people. I was getting to know people, and there's Hector as well. He was the person with that Lupo, isn't it?
Yeah, immaculate Lupo.
And just getting to sit and chat for him for like half an hour about his car is like, that's almost worth the drive down there itself. Just the people you meet there, and they're just also nice.
Yeah, we love it. We have a meet in the local pub the night before, and one of my favourite bits is just seeing people walking out the pub, looking around the car park, being like, "The bloody hell is going on here?" Like, because I hadn't told people that the XJ220 was coming, and so I had a couple of friends of mine turn up and be like, "That's not, is it?" Like, "Yes, it is." Like, "Is that?" "Yes, it is." Like, "Oh my god!"
Just for context, when I arrived and it was dark. I saw the XJ220. I completely missed the fact that there was a Project 8 right next to it. I honestly, I was like, oh my God. And I took a picture of the XJ220 to send it to my son, right? And then I went inside and I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then I noticed in the picture, hang on, what the hell? Those little holes in the bumper of the car next to it. That's a Project 8. How did I miss that?
Sorry, David. But yeah, so we got the season opener in February. In March, we're going to be doing a novice day. So one of the things I really am very proud of is the fact that I think all of the days that we've run, about a third of the people that have turned up have never done a track day before. And in spite of that, they've enjoyed themselves. That is the main thing. That's really all I care about. And they've gone home safely. And they've had a good time. But the other experienced guys haven't had any issues. It's not like we've had people out there being a portable roadblock or anything like that. Everyone's got on really well because you got a lot of people. They're very competent drivers. It's not that they're idiots. They just would like somewhere they can use and enjoy their car, and they're not going to be too worried about who else they're sharing the track with.
Yeah.
So, but I do want to do a novice specific day. That's going to be in March. And for that, we're going to run the same format, but we're going to have an extra instructor. So we normally have one, we're going to have two. We are also going to be doing like some passenger laps in, Ant and I will try and bring some nice cars and things. We got someone else who's going to bring a nice car too. So just be some cool stuff there for people to go out, especially if you've brought like a friend or family member or whatever, just to join in the fun, so they've got stuff to do as well. And our resident instructor, Tim, he does like little masterclass sessions as well, which have gone down really well, where he'll like show people like how to drive the track well and the do's and don'ts and, how to basically not just drive faster, but drive better. Get more out of your day, get more out of your car, and learn a bit of racecraft. Or I guess it would be. And then, and I'm really excited about this one. In April on the 20th, we're going to be doing a classic car day, and I cannot wait for this one. We've got a few cars signed up already. I think you're going to be bringing the Merc, aren't you?
I am.
I want to try and get the Metro ready for this one. Fingers crossed. Worst case, I'll bring either the 550 or actually I'm tempted to bring the Celica as well, with its new decoration in it. And
I'm hoping to have a classic by then too.
Yeah, we gotta sort you out. Somebody please lend my man a Corrado to drive. So that's going to be for technically pre-2000 cars. Although what I generally say is like if your car was in production in pre-2000, like you're still allowed. Like for example, if you want to bring an S2000 and it's registered in 2009, well the S2000 came in 99, you're okay. And I'm a bit tolerant. It's more just letting people know that this is the attitude of the day. Like you have to understand it. And I know a few people that have got some really quite special old cars that I would just personally love to see on track just for the hell of it. And I'm currently twisting many arms to make that just the best, most inclusive and diverse track event you've ever seen. And I'm also talking to my media guys as well, because I think I want to film some of this on old high 8 camera. And one of the guys also has a Super 8 camera as well. So we want to do some like real old school photos and bits and bobs and stuff like that, just to make it like the complete day and have a bit of fun. But details of all of that can be found on our website, which we'll link in the description down below, along with our email address, which is landlord@theradiatorarms.com. So if you want to say anything, tell us anything, tell us about the stuff that frustrates you that non-car people just don't get, then please do email in. But otherwise, gents, final thoughts?
Yeah, actually, if you know a non-car person that says, "Oh, there's no way you can drive a fast car in the UK," maybe come along to the track day.
Yep.
Bring them with you. Or if they say, "Oh, I don't understand, what's the point in driving round and round in circles?" Definitely bring them along.
Definitely bring them along. And just to remind people, you don't have to take your car on track. You can get yourself a pair of passenger wristbands and just turn up and get some rides with people.
Yep.
Like, that's what it's all about. It's this shared love of cars. It's just friends through cars. That's basically our mantra.
Indeed. Anything else from you, Will?
No, I'm just thinking really about how much fun the track days are, to be honest. And I think an interesting one, my mother said she wouldn't be against coming down for some passenger rides.
Novice Day. She's got to come to the Novice Day because I'm trying to get my mother-in-law on it. I'm trying to get my mum on it. If your mum wants to come along, we will chuck her out in her car.
Okay.
Like, we'll get her driving. Like,
all right.
We'll send her out in the new secret, currently undisclosed Radiator Arms Track car.
Oh, she'd like that.
Yeah, I thought she might. So yeah, we'll sort her out. Yeah.
And on that bombshell, thank you for joining us. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, and you'll know that this comes out on YouTube every Monday at 7 a.m. and a week later on the audio-only first platforms like Spotify, etc., etc. Thank you from all of us for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.